Okay.
So I turned off the software, right? And so I can control it on the instrument. So I just set it like I can do that too. It's always hot in this room, so it will never perfectly get to room temperature. It'll try though. So the oven, you can see, is pretty much at the temperature I set it to. There's a fan on the back of it. The inlet is still cooling down. You can see, so here it says pressure, so that means there's still helium running through the inlet and running through the column, which is okay. Remember I told you, so the instrument, while it's hot, it needs to have helium in it. But as soon as it's cooled down, you can cut it off. For changing the liner, since it's really short, it like takes like 5 seconds. It doesn't matter quite as much. Since it's now, the inlet's now around like 90, I'm just gonna turn off the pressure. So I can either, to cut the pressure, I can either hit like the off button, and you can see it's decreasing. Or if I wanted to go faster, I'll just hit 0.
So when we want to make sure the temperature goes back to the room temperature.
We want it to get below like 70-ish because it'll be hot. Like if you touch it, it'll burn you.
Yeah.
But you know, the practical limitations. This is also such a short process that it's not going to cause any major damage.
I see.
I'm going to tell the oven to just stay at 26 so we can turn the fan off. Okay. So it should be this way. Our inlet, right, is underneath our auto sampler tower. So to access it, we're just going to pick it up. Back here, there's the little parking post. So we just want to align it where it goes like right in there. You can also literally just like place it anywhere, but it's easier to put it on the parking post. It's just a little safer. And you can see this is the same post right here.
So you can directly pull it up with
Yeah, you
no...
can just move it.
Okay.
It's not a big deal. You could also unplug it if you wanted to, but it's easy to just keep it plugged in.
I see.
So this is our inlet. Again, this is splitless inlet on this instrument, so it's a little more straightforward than some of the other ones. You can see it has a septa and a septum head assembly. That's what this little nut is. So we're not going to change the septa today. We don't really need to. You'll need to change it every now and then. You'll kind of see signs as to when to change it. We don't need to do that today. So to access the liner, what we do is we take this locking tab and we just push it forward and it'll pop up like this. So the whole inlet will just, you can see the liner stuck. So the whole thing will just kind of like pop up and you can see our little liner right there. You're not wearing gloves so you can't touch it, but it's hot. That's because it's, like it said, it's hot. So it's only at 85 right now, so it's not burning me, but it's warm. So remove the liner. Oh, sorry. I need drawer organizers. I'm gonna grab this.
So there are different parts?
Yeah, there are.
I see.
So there are different types of liners too. So these are the ones we use for DDT. They have their single taper with glass wool. Like this is something we use for another project. You can see there's no glass wool in it, but it's also a single taper. These ones also have an O-ring pre-installed.
I see.
It just makes life easier. So this is the one we're going to use. But just always check the part number. It'll say it on the actual liner itself.
I see.
So make sure you get the right ones. Because Marilyn buys them, I usually just write that.
Oh, yeah.
I write that on the box.
And sometimes we may save the box and then take picture.
Yes. Oh, I have this written down everywhere. No worries. Let me grab the tweezers.
So every time we change the liner,
We're gonna need to get a new one, yeah.
Every time, you mean every month or every...
So for soils, I can't get the instrument to calibrate if it's using a used liner. Like after one run of soil samples, I had to change this liner every single time.
Oh.
Because there would just be too much moisture in the liner where the DDT would not calibrate like at all. It would look really ugly. I can show you some of those results. For
I see.
worms, because moisture is not as much of an issue, you probably can get away with changing this less frequently. The liner that's on the instrument right now, that I'll pull up for you. See, this is what it looks like it's been used. You can see it's a little yellow right there. So that's the worms. Those are the worm lipids. That's what that is.
So this white thing is kind of like a filter.
It's glass wool, so it helps the species volatilize, like it helps them do that. But it also is kind of like a filter, yeah, in a convoluted way.
I see.
But what we don't want is we don't want contamination in our sample, right? And so that's another reason why we might change the liner a little more frequently.
I see.
But the thing is, these are also like $50, so you know we don't want to change them more than we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Pros and cons. This one has been used on 2 different runs of worms, and so that's why you can see more of that discoloration. And this is now garbage. We can just throw this away. We'll just put it in a broken glass box. So, to install the new liner, Agilent makes this packaging so that like you don't need to touch it. You can just kind of like squeeze it. Makes it a little faster. I think it's okay. But basically you just grab it and you just like drop it in there.
So there is no direction.
So there is a direction. You'll see. So you want the glass wool at the bottom, basically. Whatever. This glass wool should always be down here, because that's where your column is going to come through. You see that little space?
Yes.
Your column is going to poke through there.
Okay.
So you always want that.
That side to be bottom.
Yep. So from there, you're just going to push it down a little. I get lazy, so I just like to use the lid. Again, everything in here is going to have direct contact with your sample, so you don't want to contaminate things as much as possible.
Yes.
So gloves, kind of a must, and then, yeah, so you just want to push it down, and eventually you'll feel it'll stop moving. And that's when your liner will have direct contact with your gold seal. So you just want to shove it down there. That's kind of as far as it'll go. And then it's good.
And that's it?
And that's it. So from there, we just twist it back. So we like want to make sure this locking tab is lined up with this little divot right here. And you just want to like maneuver it slightly. There we go. Until you can get it on. And then you just push it forward. It's harder locking it than unlocking it. And then we're good. That's all.
Yeah.
So from there, Agilent's directions, which are on this computer, recommend, because we just introduced a little bit of air to the system, letting it flush with helium before heating it up again.
I see.
So I'll just set this to 8. I don't know. I just set it to something arbitrary. And then we'll just keep an eye on the time. And in 15 minutes, we'll turn the inlet back on to temperature, and we'll turn the oven back on. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Very easy.